Xia Chu Jian is an angelic girl. She is an academic topper and an all-rounder athlete. Chu Jian is intelligent, gentle, and understanding. In all, she's a magnificent person. How can any rational guy, who thinks straight, not like her? On the other hand, who would like an extremely average boy? Yes. Su Fei is a boy with average looks and average abilities. If he is amidst the crowd, he will never be noticed. After graduation, he is doomed to work as a normal person from 9 to 5, living a boring life that he can visualize till the end. But it was not the same for senior sister. As the daughter of the great Xia family in H City, her life was planned well. Su Fei were originally those two parallel lines that will never intersect. Drowning in his thoughts, Su Fei is walking around the campus when suddenly Chu Jian gives a gentle tap on his shoulder. He gets startled by her touch and panics. She brightly greets him and tells him that he has worked very hard and effectively during the class. She has brought milk and bread for both of them and politely asks whether they can eat it together. Su Fei, with all his courage, tells her that he still has a lot of things to do, so he won't be able to accompany her. Chu Jian is confused by his behavior and continues to pester him. She asks him about his schedule for tomorrow and asks whether he'll be free tomorrow. Nervously, Su Fei denies her request and tells her that he'll be busy tomorrow too. He apologizes to Senpai. Su Fei thinks deeply that the waste makes counterattack only exists in the plots of a novel. And as a person who likes her, he decides that he should make the best choice for her. But little did he know that the decision-making was in his hands. Without any hesitation, Chu Jian grabs the back of his t-shirt and lets her voice be heard. She expresses her concern about bothering her junior brother. She continues bravely and speaks as if she was never going to regret anything. She asks him whether her last confession was so exaggerated that he was now scared of her. Chu Jian is in no mood to hear him out and continues to explain herself, saying that Su Fei is so good and that she is afraid that her younger brother will be taken away by others. That's the reason she confessed to him. She breaks down completely and starts crying. Here, Su Fei feels embarrassed about making her cry, but he can't help it. Actually, he was able to get along well with his senior sister, but since the confession a week ago, he is befuddled. A week ago, the scenario was completely different. All was well. Until that night, that very moment when Su Fei heard his roommate screaming for glory. Su Fei warned him to stop bothering him, as he was engrossed in his game where he was in the middle of a fight. His roommate still continued to disturb him and asks him to go and have a look downstairs. He's got a surprise. Su Fei looks at him with a weird expression, and now he is curious to know about what's going on downstairs. He goes to his dorm window and takes a brief look. Su Fei is dumbstruck. The scenario down there is more like a shock to him. It's the most beautiful sight he has ever seen. His senior sister, Chu Jian, is there on her knees, sparkling the brightest in the middle of numerous candles. The decorated candles speak out the sentence, "Student Su Fei, let us be together." Su Fei's roommate is amazed by the delightful sight. Meanwhile, Su Fei can't think anything clearly as he just knows that he has met his senior sister a few weeks ago, yet she went this far and did all this for him. There, downstairs, several students have gathered and are busy murmuring. The gossips are going to spread like fire. One of the students come forward and starts warning Chu Jian about what she's doing. She tells her that she is the best flower of the university and asks her whether she's okay with people talking about her like this. Chu Jian replies in a savage tone and asks her, will this cause trouble for the other students? One of Chu Jian's friends, feel pity for her as there's no response from Su Fei. She tries to indicate Chu Jian and tells her that she is the most talented and beautiful girl in the whole university and adds a question to it asking her, how on earth could Su Fei possibly reject her? Chu Jian on the contrary is still worried that her younger brother Su Fei will be troubled with all this what she has done. Her friend yells at her because she didn't think about this problem earlier before doing such a big thing. To which Chu Jian says that she didn't think much about it and didn't measure the pros and cons of her doings. Chu Jian's friend is now seriously worried about her and decides to give her a strong dose. She tells Chu Jian that last time she had seen Su Fei and some beautiful girls from his class going to the library together. The thought of this triggers Chu Jian terribly. Without thinking any further, she declares that now she will confess. For her junior brother, she will do it. Chu Jian squeals with delight and finally confesses. She calls out for her junior brother, Su Fei, and tells him, let's be together. I like you. Hearing her confession, Su Fei's roommates begin to tease him. One of the roommate tells him that he is a great person for he actually made the senior sister like him. Another roommate of his response that he never knew that senior sister would ever like Su Fei. Su Fei feels miserable and jumps on his bed. He cries out, telling them to stop such unreliable dreams. It's impossible for him and senior sister. They both cannot be together. His roommates are shocked by his behavior and ask him whether he is serious about it. To which Su Fei replies, that don't annoy him, and that he wants to sleep now. It looks like his roommates don't understand him, and they continue to pester him by telling him that he should acknowledge senior sister as she is confessing to him down there alone, and here he is hiding himself under the blanket. Su Fei responds in a sad tone, saying that he has no answer for her. He means that he has no answer for her confession. One of his roommates get angry at Su Fei and screams over his voice by telling him that he really doesn't know how blessed he should be as the university goddess is confessing to him. Meanwhile, the other roommate understands that Su Fei definitely has some problems, so he tells his third brother that leave him alone. Su Fei must have some unavoidable difficulties. Yes, Su Fei knows that his senior sister feels very embarrassed down there, but he knows that he is not the right person for senior sister. He painfully accepts the fact that senior brother Gao Yang is the best person for her. He has some awful memory that he recalls in his mind. A few days ago, when Su Fei was studying in the library, Gao Yang came to meet him. As soon as Gao Yang approached him, Su Fei heard whispers from all over the library. Gossips flew in the air. He heard someone said that this is the famous senior brother Gao Yang, and the other voice said that he's so handsome and so gentle. Another student sang praises of him and said that he's the student president as well as the most handsome person in the university. Gao Yang gently lifted up his finger and put it on his lips, indicating others to be quiet as this is the library. Su Fei was extremely nervous and was about to get up to greet Gao Yang. Gao Yang kindly told him not to be nervous and that he was only here only because of Chu Jian's stuff. Su Fei muttered under his breath that he and senior sister Chu Jian only met a while ago and that they have nothing going on between them. Gao Yang in an intimidating tone tells him that he knows all about it and is just here to tell him that he is Chu Jian's future husband. On hearing these words, Su Fei exclaimed and repeated the same words as he was trying to confirm whether what he had heard was right or not. Future husband. Gao Yang tells him that when Chu Jian and he were young, the elders had already fixed their marriage, but Chu Jian keeps on refusing the marriage. But Gao Yang is determined, and he will not give up. He asks Su Fei whether he will support this marriage. Su Fei here is not given any choice, for the matter of the fact he has to agree to this arrangements. Su Fei hesitates while answering. Gao Yang continues by saying that Chu Jian is chosen by her father Xia as his heir. She is the one who is going to handle all their family business, so she will need a husband that will help her and stay by her side. Su Fei is now confused, but gathering a bit of courage, he tells Gao Yang that this is all only possible if senior sister likes you. If she doesn't, all of these arrangements are just useless. Gao Yang smirks at the little boy Su Fei's courage. He tells him that Chu Jian's liking doesn't matter here. He asks him will it help her manage tens of thousands of dollars just by merely liking someone. He adds to it by asking him again that can she take care of the tens of billions of Xia's market value just by liking. Gao Yang slams a last question at him and says, can love alone help her get back on her feet when her company is in trouble? It was crystal clear that the answers for all these questions were a big no. Gao Yang continues to slander junior brother Su Fei by telling him that if Chu Jian was only a normal, beautiful girl, then of course she could have liked whoever she wanted. She could have easily lived her life on her own terms. But here it's different, she will be the only in charge of the Xia business in the future. She has to be alert and careful. One careless move and she will be ruined, or even worse, her husband, who is a loser, will definitely kill her. On hearing those words from Gao Yang's mouth, Su Fei felt angered, but he was helpless. A few days later, Chu Jian and Su Fei meet on the campus corridor. Su Fei nervously begins the conversation and tells her that last time he didn't mean it and his answer was, but Chu Jian cuts him off in middle and tries to assure him that it's okay. It's really okay, and that she doesn't mind him. Chu Jian thinks to herself that she'll wait until junior brother is comfortable and accepts her. She agrees to the fact that her confession last time was a bit scary as it was a very sudden one and she was impulsive. Chu Jian attempts to be cool enough and tells Su Fei that if he has something to do, he should go back first and complete it. Su Fei is unclear about her behavior but agrees to her and tells her that he'll send her milk tomorrow too. Su Fei walks away, sighing hard. While thinking about what just happened, he bumps into the front person. A loud bang and the person in the front turns around only to find out that he is none other than senior brother, Gao Yang. Su Fei holds his head in his hands and mutters, what a coincidence that senior brother is here too. Gao Yang is in no mood to play with the kid. He straightaway asks Su Fei to come along with him in a tone that no one would ever like. Once they reach an isolated place in the campus, Gao Yang shoots away his anger onto Su Fei by telling him, it seems that what he said last time, he didn't take it to heart at all. Su Fei responds with panic heard clearly in his voice. He tells him that he would never dare to think about senior sister and that there is nothing going on between them. Gao Yang has heard enough of this, and now that he is furious, he attacks Su Fei. Su Fei is punched directly in the face. Blood oozes out of his mouth and he falls straight onto the ground. Gao Yang spits out his frustration, telling him that only ghosts will believe that there's nothing going on between Chu Jian and you. Su Fei, still as pain, tries to explain that senior brother really misunderstood the situation. But here, his senior brother is uninterested to hear him out. Gao Yang tells him, today is the day he will let Su Fei know that Chu Jian is not some kind of girl that trash like him can touch. This time, he attacks him again and kicks him hard with all his strength. Su Fei, with the pressure, flies off to the end of the guard railings, hits onto it, breaking it into pieces, and within a jiffy, falls off the building. While falling off the building, Su Fei experiences a slow miracle. He missed the actual point in time and crashed straight into a piece of earth. He sighed. He felt like he was in terrible pain and looked up to find his wounds. He was hit by instant confusion. He had fell from such a high place, but he is still okay. As if he had never fallen from the roof of that building. Hang on, where were those students? Where was the building? Where was the university? All he could see were mushrooms. He questions himself, whether these are those rare reishi mushrooms. He sees these rare medical materials everywhere. It's like a boon for the ones who know the real value of these mushrooms. He thinks that he's in heaven. The thought makes him happy that even an otaku like him can go to heaven. Another thought breaks in, where he wants to know about the angelic sisters. Usually, heaven is full of angelic sisters, but how come there are so many mushrooms here? Su Fei feels a little disappointed, but he decides to move on. When he suddenly sees two people at a distance, they are probably a mother and a child. They both look at him with a weird expression. The child couldn't control her curiosity and asks the mother, why is that brother so excited about the poisonous mushrooms? To which the mother replies in a serious tone and tells her don't look at him. The mother also feels pity for him and explains to her child that every year there are some scholars who fail in the exams and they go crazy. He must be one of them. Su Fei is least bothered about the comments, but he starts investigation the mushroom. He asks himself, is this really a poisonous mushroom? He doubted it. He had learned from the Chinese medicine practitioners for a few years, and there's no way that he's wrong. This is obviously reishi mushroom. Su Fei had faith in himself and in those who had taught him well. In the middle of the mushroom debate, it suddenly struck him hard, the mother and the child, why were they wearing ancient clothes? Another question followed, could it be traversing? Su Fei was now being more than an inquisitive kid. He had questions flooded in his mind. He asked himself, if he had traversed, does it mean that he now has some kind of superpower? But on the other hand, he felt that his body hadn't changed even a little bit. Amid the chaos in his mind, out of nowhere, a horse burst out, speeding towards Su Fei. He stood in a shock, thinking about what is happening. No way. He had just arrived here, and he is about to get hit by a horse. Fortunately, he got over it, but the horse and the girl riding it both crashed awfully on the ground with a thud. The girl seemed to be hurt, but Su Fei doubted her. He felt as if she is faking her injury to get money from him. The wounded girl laid there unconsciously. Feeling sorry for the girl, Su Fei decides to help her out. He takes a look at her and right away notices that the girl has got injured in her chest. Fortunately, it's not too deep, but this arrow tip may contain poison. Su Fei has to treat her at once, or this can be fatal. He has to pull the arrow out quickly to start the treatment in the affected area. Fearlessly, Su Fei holds on the arrow, and with great force, he pulls it out. As the arrow is out, the wound emits a strange shades of golden yellow light. The light swirls up and forms into a bow-like shape, indicating a message. Su Fei starts to wonder about what on earth could be this strange thing. He cuts off his thoughts midway, cause the girl was bleeding and he's got a life to save. Making up his mind, he decides to wrap up the wound of the lady first. With his few years of learning Chinese medicine, he makes the right use of his knowledge and treats the wounded girl. Later that night, the girl starts to gain consciousness. She breathes heavily and asks for water. Su Fei is pleased to see that she's finally awake. He goes near her to give her water, and she takes a brief glance at his face. In a delightful tone, Su Fei greets her by saying, "Hello beautiful lady," and politely asks her to get up and drink some hot water. The girl looks at him suspiciously and gets up right away. Su Fei warns her that she is injured and so she shouldn't get up. He gladly starts to introduce himself. He tells her that his name is Su Fei and asks her, what's her name? When he doesn't get a response, he continues babbling about how it's fate that they met this way in the wilderness. The girl gets irritated, and in a stroke, she unsheathed her sword. She points the sword at him as if he's a criminal. Su Fei at once starts to panic and tells her that he didn't mean to tease her. He asks her, is calling her a beauty means that he is teasing her? The girl is now dominating Su Fei and threatens him by telling him he dares to keep talking yet. Looks like he wants to die. Scared but now angry, Su Fei screams back at her. He lets her to wait a minute, she is just being ungrateful. Su Fei adds up, saying that he is the one who saved her life. She realizes that he has helped her and questions him that, is he the one who bandaged her? Su Fei gathers himself and counter-questions her with attitude, who else is there here other than him to treat her? The girl waits for him to clarify her doubt and then whispers softly saying that, is he her benefactor? She appreciates him for being her benefactor, and tells him that she'll repay him. He is free to tell her whatever he wants, and she can give him anything he wants. Su Fei was excited with the offer and confirms whether he can ask for anything. He decides to put her to a test and asks her to assist him to become the emperor, and that the two of them will conquer the world together, share the glory. Before he finishes talking, she gets furious again, and the sword is out, ready to tear him apart. She asks him, does he want to rebel? It looks like he really wants to die. Reality hits Su Fei, and he urges that he is joking. Just joking. He tells her that she was the one who said that he can ask for anything. Annoyed by him, the beauty warns him by saying, keep joking, and his head will fly out of his body. Su Fei, now being a bit serious, tells her, he is a foreigner, that he is new here to this place, and doesn't know her rules. He inquires about the place, and he asks her, what place is this? Where is this place situated? The girl replies proudly, telling him, this place is the Great Yan Kingdom, North Continent. The name of the kingdom rings in Su Fei's mind. He thinks thoroughly, is there any such dynasty on Earth? He tries to think deeply about the situation. Maybe he is not on Earth now, maybe he is on some other planet. Su Fei scans the gorgeous woman beside him. Looking at this woman's dress, it's possible that he is in another world. He is now determined to find out what is exactly happening. He decides to keep talking to this woman first. Maybe he can get some valuable information out of her. First things first, he has to know her name, so he initiates a conversation where he tells her that his name is Su Fei but he doesn't know about her, calling her beauty again. He means to say that he doesn't know what should he call her as. He is trying to ask her again, what's her name? The girl responds in brief. She tells him her name is Huangfu Xingnan of Huangfu family, Marquis of Zhenbei, which is under the Great Yan Kingdom. She is proud to serve and protect the kingdom. Su Fei is inquisitive and speaks out his concern loudly. He asks her whether a woman can also be a marquis. He is not inexperienced, and he doesn't know that woman cannot be questioned. She is enraged and asks him what does he exactly mean. Does he mean that women cannot defend their homes and the country? He gets to know that he can be killed merely by just asking a question and immediately decides to back off. He clears off her misunderstanding and tells her that he didn't do it on purpose. He does admire it very much, really very much. The girl is thrilled and speaks about her family. She tells him that her Huangfu family ranks third among the top 3 families in the kingdom. She sums up by saying that most of his requirements can be satisfied by her Huangfu family. Su Fei is pleased to know about the ranking of her family and declares that he is not going to hold back then, he will ask for anything that he wants. He starts thinking about his plans and reminds himself that since this woman has such a strong background, he doesn't have to be polite with her, he can ask for all that his heart desires. He asks himself, does he want a group of wives and concubines? Or a mountain of gold and silver? His thoughts go crazy, and he also thinks about being a high-ranking official. He finds it difficult to choose between what he actually wants. Meanwhile, the girl realizes that something's wrong and her breastplate is missing. She questions him, where is her breastplate? Anger raging inside her, she holds him up and asks him again, where is my breastplate? Su Fei, scared to death, tries to explain the situation. He tells her that when he found her, she was shot with an arrow in her breast and to help her, he had to take off her breastplate. She gets more furious and inquires deeply, who asked him to remove her armor. She calls him a bastard. Su Fei doesn't give up and continues to explain by telling her that she had passed out at the time, and the situation was critical. But she was not in the mood to listen to him and she began to remove her bandage. He jumped desperately, asking her, what are you doing? Pleading her to stop it. He had just bandaged her and she was already opening it up. To his surprise, the place where she was wounded badly was almost cured. He couldn't hold back his curiosity and spoke carelessly. He asks her, what kind of a body does she have? She can ride a horse after such a serious injury, and now she can heal herself so quickly. The girl is disgusted and squeals about him touching her chest. She calls him a bloody bastard again. She unsheathed her sword and chases him all over the place. He cries in panic, asking her, what's the matter with her? Does she really want to kill him? Currently, she's on the peak of her anger and calls him a damn lecher. She is now ready to kill him again. Using his last chance, Su Fei told her to wait for a minute. He confirms whether she is going to kill him just because had touched her chest. He pleads that this is too unreasonable. He sincerely explains to her saying that he had touched her chest only to help her heal and that he has done it with the heart of a doctor. There's an instant understanding between both of them, and reality hits her hard. She has been in the army for 8 whole years, and she has lost sight of the difference between men and women. How can she even think of killing someone because of this? On seeing her cooling down, Su Fei now feels safe enough for a while. Hey guys, I will upload the next one as soon as you complete 100 comments. So dear audience, please complete the comment target as soon as possible. If you have liked this part, then like the video and subscribe to the channel. Love you.